The stars are aligning for the euro. I mean, if you weren't a skeptic, the stars are aligning. The coalition will probably come together with Merkel at the helm. You've got Macron moving along with Labour reform. If you're an investor outside saying, do I want to own more Europe? What is the conclusion from the FX desks around the world and the strategists?
Well, the big picture is yes to that answer, but this week we've kind of had a bit of a reality check on how investors view Eurozone political risks, given the outcome of the German elections. And more so, the sort of pace of Macron and Merkel integration might be not as rapid as many had sort of predicted. So the euro rally had kind of front-run a lot of this expectations. We've had a bit of a pause here, but we think this is more of a technical correction rather than anything else. And fundamentally, we think euro-dollar could run down to 116, but that's a great buying point, given our view for euro-dollar at 125 by next year.
Right, so the types of integration that Macron is talking about, finance ministry and investment and other fairly well-trodden paths, but he's given some new life to them. Other people talk about whether the ESM can be used with a bigger role. All of the things he's talking about, are they enough to give a sort of step change, big boost to the euro as a construct?
Well, they're definitely in conjunction the next sort of key to unlocking Eurozone growth, I think. And so we've got to the recovery stage now. Now we need to push on from there. And I think that promises from a lot of European countries on reforms, on structural reforms, on long-run positives for Eurozone growth. And I think that's probably one of the factors why we're quite cyclically bullish on the euro.
We've got to push on. So that's maybe a message to Mario Draghi. Good morning, Mario. You want to listen to Viraj. This is the economic surprises. Yep. City economic surprises in the blue for Europe, in the US is just a little bit below. The data is stacking up, but is it stacking up for a more aggressive move from the European Central Bank in terms of their taper for 2018? How quickly will they taper? When will they raise rates? Could it be 2018 or is it still 2019 as a base case for you?
Well, I think 2019 is still for a base case in terms of raising rates. We think it's going to be a dovish tapering, if anything. More so, not necessarily the pace of the Eurozone recovery, but it's the financial market implications, especially allowing for a front-running of the euro to move up too quickly, too sharply. If the ECB were to signal that, we think the pain threshold for the euro-dollar comes in 125. If that happens anytime in the next couple of months, that's going to start raising the red flags at the ECB. So we don't think that that's our base case or what the ECB want.
Here in the UK, we're in conference season, aren't we? So, I mean, it seems like politics is never far from the currencies at the moment, but never far from the pound at the moment, given all the Brexit conversation, but even more so. So we pulled up this chart. Manus has got this one. This is one that you can find on the Bloomberg. Cable falls, and these are some sort of notable events in history back to the early 1990s where we've seen what could be described as a run on the pound, or just broad pound selling. I pulled this up because yesterday at the Labour Party conference, we heard that from John McDonnell, who wants to be the Chancellor in the UK, that they are wargaming around what would happen if there were to be a run on the pound. Is this something that's being looked at by FX desks in London?
Well, a run on the pound has always been a tail risk for the pound since the Brexit conversation started a couple of years ago. Now, especially when you look at sort of the UK's large stock of external liabilities. Now, that's why we put so much emphasis on the transition deal and the cyclical benefits that sterling could reap from this. What a transition deal does is pushes back that tail risk of a cliff edge Brexit happening, a potential run on the pound, potential flight of capital from the UK, and it buys some time for both UK and European leaders to find a proper solution, I guess.
Just very briefly, would you continue to buy into the pound move? This is it in the past month against the major currencies. Yen, look at that.
It's strong,
it's absolutely belting it out against the yen.
Well, I think that's the Bank of England story priced for.
Fine.
So
yeah.
that's that done. I think for us to revise our pound forecast, we need to see greater steps towards a transition deal be signed, sealed and delivered. That's our message.